Week 3, welcome back to the Investor Outlook series. This week we are going to break down macroeconomic conditions and how they affected investor appetites in 2025 and how they could continue to play an impact in 2026. To kick things off, here's Grady Vanderhoofen with Three Roots Capital.
I would say our hope for 2026 would be that macroeconomic conditions and some perception of stability and predictability in the federal government create a situation that's conducive to positive business growth in 2026. I think that's a big hope because there's a fair amount of uncertainty right now. And companies perform better when there is less uncertainty.
Two other investors, Jay Schaefer and Eric Dobson, agreed that it was a challenging year on the macro level.
The investors in 25 were making smaller investments in fewer companies. Just pure and simple. So it was just one of those years where we just had to, like I said, focus down on our existing portfolio. We added a few new companies, but they were fairly small investments. And that's our process anyway. We do multiple investments over time with companies.
The economic uncertainty is bad for everybody. So there are a lot of things are on the side. Any company that had physical products, we had to go through the tariff reset, so that slowed up some things there.
Now, on the founder side of things, some investors reported seeing some really positive momentum.
Our outlook this year and our sort of opinion on macroeconomics is there's always great founders starting. So if you sort of like wind back the clock to well before we start our fund and look at a year like 2008, which is generally known as like the Great Recession, a very challenging time economically, you also see the emergence of some really great companies from that era, like Uber and Instagram and others, where you would say, oh, those would be great investments to be in, right? So as an early stage investor, we stay bullish and we're always just looking for the best founders, the best founding teams to back regardless of the overall climate.
So I think like investors will change what they do because of the market. But again, I work with founders and I've never had a founder change the business they're building because of the market. That's not really like on the table. Like, especially if you're trying to solve a worthy problem. So because I hang out with founders, I'm like more influenced to like think in their mindset.
But for pre-seed founders across the state who are seeking their way in for the first time, it's been pretty challenging.
Investors kind of doubling down on their existing portfolios, I think has made it difficult for some startups in the state and in the region to be recipients of new capital. So I think the role of angel investors is going to continue to be paramount.
Next week on Monday, we're going to break down the emerging industries that are catching the eyes of investors from across the state. Right now on our website, you can find links to each of these investors and their respective firms so you can make those connections. Be sure to follow along with this series on technovation.biz, subscribe to our newsletter, or follow us on LinkedIn and never miss an update. We will see you next week.